right, today we had big plans and high hopes that we were going to get out on the bass boat this morning so we can do some on-water instruction on how to use jerk baits and whatnot for the Striper 101. So what we're doing instead this morning, we're going to do two videos. One, we're going to do how to set up a drop shot for bass fishing, because that was actually our intention this morning. It's not for striped bass, this is for smallmouth and largemouth bass. We're going to show how we set up a drop shot and what we like to put on that drop shot. My top 4 choices for drop shotting. In addition to that, we're going to drop another video. We're going to do a giveaway today. So the best way to get signed up on that giveaway is to watch the giveaway video, which is right after this one. You need to share that video twice, like it, subscribe to our channel, and comment on the giveaway video to be entered in. And we're gonna go ahead and do a live drawing on that on Sunday afternoon. And go ahead and watch for that video, the giveaway video, for what the prizes are on that. It's gonna be pretty damn good. You're gonna see that video right after this. All right, so let's get into how I like to set up a drop shot. So for me, for a drop shot, I don't like to have a huge loop hanging out off of my line. So as you saw in one of our previous videos, we do the double polymer knot. We show how to tie that knot. This is basically how I set up my drop shot. Is pretty much the same way as just tying a double polymer. And there's a couple little details that I like to put in there. So we're gonna say that this is our hook. I'm gonna demonstrate it using our fake line so you can just see what we're doing. And then I'm gonna go ahead and set up this pole with a drop shot, complete with the hook, sinker, and a choice of baits. So this is your line going to your pole, and this is your tag in. So basically all you're doing is tying a double polymer knot with a long extra tag in, which is gonna be your leader. So what we do is we go through the eyelet of the hook. We're pretending this is a hook just because this isn't real line. We go through there once, go back again twice. Now what we're doing is we're leaving a long tag in, because that is where our weight's gonna go and our hook's gonna be up here. So we've gone through there twice. Now we take our main line, we twist our long tag in around 4 or 5 times. And remember to leave a long tag in, because that's actually your leader. So now we've got it twisted, and here's your main line here going to your pole, and here's your tag in. And we've noticed we've left a really long tag in here, and that's because that's what we're gonna put our weight on. So basically, your polymer knot, go back through both the loops here, cinch it down. So now you've got that hook that's on here tight without the loop. Some guys like to use a dropper loop. I like to just do a polymer knot on there so the hook's up here tight. And I'm gonna demonstrate how it's gonna look on the pole. So we get your tag in here, which we left extra long to attach our drop shot weights. And this is going to your pole. So your setup should kind of look like this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it for reals on a real pole. Set that aside. So go ahead and cut it. Okay, so now we're gonna set up a drop shot on a real pole, real rig up, so that you can see what it looks like. I'm gonna start with, since we're gonna tie the hook first, what I like to use. There's other brands that are just as good, but one thing specific is I like to use specific drop shot hooks, and they'll say split shot or drop shot on them. These Gamatsu's size 2s are real good. So you get a close up on that, Elijah. And I also like to use size 1s. And 6 Cents makes these. These are drop shot hooks. And some of the other brands, they're all real good. I mean, use a good brand name because a good hook on drop shotting is super important. It's also referred to as a mosquito hook. So if you see, some of the other brands will call it a mosquito hook. Some of them straight up call it a drop shot hook. But yeah, super important. I get a lot more hookups when I use an actual drop shotting hook. Just got a different shape. It just works with this kind of setup. And I've noticed, you get little taps, I'm getting a little more hookups. So, like we showed you before, double polymer. So I've got the hook here. We're gonna go in the eyelet. Should have had my glasses out again. And then we're gonna go in one more time. Now remember, we're saving, we've got a long tag end so that we can use that as our leader. So I go through again. And I'm leaving a long tag in. So I got to lengthen my tag in because it's not as long as I want it. So you can adjust that after you get your loops in. We like to drop shot right against some cover. So I like to leave it about that long for me. So, all right, so I got my loop. Let's go ahead and tie our knot. So I'm gonna twist it 4 or 5 times. What line I'm using here, if you're curious about that, is I like to use fluorocarbon, straight fluorocarbon. So this is 8-pound fluorocarbon. Go through my loop. Cinch down the knot. So now, what I have here is a fuck up. So we have to start all the way over, Elijah. Okay, so now we're gonna demonstrate. We've seen how we set it up with the fake line. So now we're gonna set it up in real life. We're gonna get the hook on here. I'm gonna explain to you also what products I like to use. You don't have to use these brands, but there's a certain hook that you want to look for. Gamakatsu makes a real good one, and it'll say this is a size 2. I like to use 2 or 1 depending on the baits. If I'm fishing smallmouth, I like to use a size 2, and if I'm fishing largemouth, I like to use size 1. So Gamakatsu makes one. It's called split shot drop shot hook. Same with 6 Cents. They make a specific drop shot hook. This is size 2, or actually it's size 1, size 2. And some of the other brands will call it a mosquito hook. All the top brands make a really good hook. They're all pretty much the same. 6 Cents has a little bit more of a kick right here, which almost turns into a circle hook. Kind of really helps on the hookups for me. And but again, I like Gamakatsu as well. And some of the other top brands, they call it a mosquito hook. So either drop shot hook or a mosquito hook. So we're gonna go ahead and tie the hook on now. What I've got here on this setup is 8-pound fluorocarbon. I like to go real light on my line and very clear. Drop shotting is real finesse fishing. So a very light setup, very light action. You gotta feel those little taps on there when you're drop shotting. So just like the knot we showed you, double polymer, we go through the eyelet once. Now remember, we're leaving a long tag so that we can use that as our leader. Through the eyelet again. Making a loop. Hold that loop in your thumb. Go ahead and wrap. It's a little bit more difficult because you've got this long leader tag hanging off. So you're basically just tying it, just like you're tying up to one of your lures with a double polymer, only you're leaving a real long tag in, and we go take that end of that tag in right through both loops again. Pull it tight. So you're gonna want to cinch that down. I like to wet it a little bit here. Bingo. All right, so you can see what we've ended up with. Basically, all we've done at this point is tie a drop shot hook up and leave a long tag in on double polymer, just like we showed you in one of the other videos, just like tying a lure on. So now you've got that drop shot hook on the line with a long tag in. The reason I like to set it up like this instead of some guys like a little loop out here is because when I'm finessing that pull and giving its little wiggle waggle, tippy tap taps, whatever you want to call it, that hook is to this main line, and it's going to be a little bit more responsive on the movement because you don't have it just fluttering on the loop. A lot of guys use a dropper loop or whatever, but this is how we like to set it up. And the reason being is even when you go to set the hook, that hook is on your main line straight to the eyelet, and you're going to get more hookups. So I like to use, especially up on the lake or on any of these marshes, are these drop shot sinkers. This is a 3/16, and if you notice on the top, it has this little loop on the top here. These are awesome for drop shotting. Reason being is no knot required. All you have to do on these is pull it through there, yank it up, and you're on. The reason I like these is if this gets hung up and you've got a fish on, that line's gonna pop through that. You're gonna sacrifice 10 cents on a lure. So now that we've got our setup, so basically what we've got is our setup here. So your hook's up here, your drop shot weight's down here, and we've got your mosquito hook up here on the top. Top 4 baits that I like to use, and I know everyone's got their preferences on what works for their area. And so I'm gonna get into my top 2 favorite are these old school Berkeley Gulp minnow silver. They're little tiny flukes is what they basically are. And I like these white ones in this juice. They work absolutely incredible. So I love that. So this basically all you do is just hook it right through the nose. And I'm gonna show you how we hook one of those up after I go through the baits. The other way I like to drop shot, these are, I don't like to use 6-inch worms. These are 5-inch worms. I think 6 are too big. This is our brand, River King Bait Company. We hand pour these ourselves. And so I like to use a sinking worm when I use a worm. I know a lot of people say, hey, that's BS, dude. You're supposed to use a floating worm. I like to use a sinking worm when I'm using a worm because it gets it down there. And I just feel like I catch more fish using a sinking one. How I hook up my worm, just right through the tip here, just like that. Simple as that. And you're jiggling that thing out in front of the fish there. So basically, that's how I like to. I like this green pumpkin color. So I also chose my favorite colors. This green pumpkin color, I love, I love, I love. Again, when we go to these gulps, white is my favorite color. I also like the black and with the white or silver bottom. Those ones look good too. When the bite's a little bit tougher, I'll go to these Ned rig style. This is also, we pour these. These are 4-inch Ned rig worms. Now these are floating. Now, I know I just said I like the sinking ones when I go to worms. I do. Now when I use the littler ones and the ones for the Ned rig, I really like this green pumpkin and watermelon red flake. Those I absolutely love, and I set them up the same way, right through the nose here, just like that. But I like to use, when I use the Ned rig, 4-inch Ned rig worms, I like a floating one because obviously it's not as flexible as these longer ones. So that's that setup. The fourth one I like to use When the water's a little bit murky or after a bunch of wind like we just had, I like to add a little bit of flash and basically, I love these. These are by Zoom. Salty Super Flukes Golden Bream Chartreuse. Now the reason I like these when the water's a little bit murky, the chartreuse sticks out a little bit and a little bit of flash. Although I do like using the Zooms as well without the chartreuse that just have the flake in them and this root beer color, I just absolutely love. So I'm going to show you how we set these up. Same easy. Just sideways right through the nose, and that's your setup. So that's how we like to use drop shots. That's how we like to set up drop shots. These are the 4 main baits that I like to use. You can play around with them. I'm not saying that these are the absolute have to have these baits in order to catch fish. It's just what I like to prefer around here that I use, and I've narrowed it down to these 4 that usually cover all my bases when I get out there for the different conditions. So all right, so let's go ahead and subscribe, share, like, comment. Remember, we're doing the giveaway. So to enter the giveaway, watch the giveaway video. We'll have instructions on there on how to sign up. We're gonna go ahead and draw that out of a hat live on Sunday. Look for that video. You're gonna see what kind of prizes next. Get out there and get on the fish as soon as this wind ends.